Harry gets some traction, though. He gets a lot of attention. The more he cries about how the media has ruined his whole life, first with his mom and now with his wife, he is invited on some Zoom calls where apparently he was working with this company called Bot Sentinel that looks to find connections between misinformation and the accounts creating it. So, like, nothing could be more dumb. Can you imagine spending your whole life online trying to, like, figure out where the bots are? Why don't y'all get outside and look at the grass and look at the sky? Why don't you go feel some dirt under your fingernails? I don't understand living in a world in which you're so concerned with what's happening in this, like, nether region of the internet. Who cares? It's not real. Go outside, hug your kids, teach them how to ride a bike, go to the store, buy some good food, cook a good meal, go read a good book. Have some friends over. Like, be a human being in the world. But no, he's got to go work with Bot Sentinel. And they discovered that there was, I think, 83 accounts that were responsible for all the misinformation. So, marginally, very extremely small group of people. But apparently, they had such massive reach, and they were training all these other people to be terrible just like them, that they were reaching, 17 million people. Reaching, though, is a difficult thing to really pin down in the world of the internet. Like, if I put out this video, potentially anybody on YouTube could see it. It's out there. But did I reach every single person who is on YouTube? No. Clearly, by my subscription numbers, I have not. And so, it's just like, you say you've reached 17 million people, but have you? I don't know about the mechanism with which they were conducting this research. Regardless, Harry working with Bot Sentinel meant that he got invited on some Zoom calls, you guys. So we get footage of him on his Zoom calls. Hilariously, Meghan is off to the corner, crouching on the ground beside a couch while he's on the Zoom call, but he's literally sitting in front of a computer monitor having the call, and the computer monitor is facing him and away from the room, but she's still crouching on the floor like she's going to listen in, but, she doesn't want to accidentally get in the Zoom footage. How would you? The camera's pointing the complete opposite direction. It was a weird scene. Anyway, we get a lot of talk from this guy who was in charge of Bot Sentinel about how he's done a lot of research, okay? And he has found out which clowns are responsible for QAnon, which clowns are responsible for COVID misinformation, which jokers are decrying the climate crisis. He's done his due diligence. So on top of all those hard-hitting issues, he also got into it with Harry and Meghan. So he's found out that 70% of all this junk that they're receiving, it's just from 83 accounts, one of which is owned by Samantha Markle, if you can believe that. He said they just scratched their heads and dumbfounded that the half-sister would come after Meghan like this. Like, that's the thing that took them so long to figure out, is why the half-sister would be involved like this. It's a mystery, you guys. They couldn't figure it out, but they don't say that. They have this statement from Samantha's lawyer that says that while there are a bunch of different accounts connected to Samantha's name, those accounts, which she supposedly owns, are actually not hers because her account was hacked, and that those different accounts were created by the hacker and she has nothing to do with it. I don't know what I believe when it comes to Samantha Markle, because between you and me, I find her a problematic character. I am not saying that she can't be upset that Meghan seems to go about her life telling lies, and that Meghan says they didn't know each other and Samantha says they did. But I think sometimes the way Samantha has carried herself in the public hasn't been very flattering to her. I think that just the fact that she won't move on from this is unfortunate for her reputation. All of this can be true, but don't make your life about it. Don't become known as the bitter half-sister of Meghan Markle. And again, many of the things she's saying could completely be founded in fact. But you don't want to go around being known as that person. Like, go live your own life, a good big life that has nothing to do with this person who didn't invite you to their wedding. Was that mean of Meghan? Yeah, but if you're constantly coming out and saying mean things, you can probably not expect an invite to the wedding. And I'm not defending anything Meghan's done. I'm just saying, Samantha, go live your own life. Go live a big, large, wonderful life that involves you and your kids and your family. And don't worry about what Meghan is doing. But she says none of those were her creation and that it was all because of a hacker. There's potential there. Could be. But I can also see an argument being made that she could have had multiple accounts. Who knows? I'm not too worried about Meghan Markle's half-sister, Samantha. Okay. Meghan says that one of the hardest things for her has just been seeing the viciousness of these tweets. And the guy from Bot Sentinel wants to let you know that some of these tweets were just wildly racist. There was one that said, and they're like pulling all these like super rando tweets that were supposed to be like, oh, that's hard hitting. How could anybody be so mean? You guys, the meanness that any of us can find in any comment section on YouTube should let everybody know, completely discredit comments, tweets, random things people say on the internet. Like, you cannot live your life by that. Somebody wrote something that's like, this is why interracial marriage is a bad idea. They're like, look at the racism there. Okay, that stupid joker can think that all he wants. You're going to like let that ruin your day? And then they want to let you know that one time somebody called her the N-word. They did. Do you want to see the tweet? Well, we don't have the actual tweet where somebody called her the N-word, but we are going to show you a tweet where somebody calls her an immoral gold digger. Digger. Starts with a different letter, but they rhyme. So basically, it's like somebody called her the N-word. I mean, if you were reading it really fast, you might accidentally think they had. Maybe. If you have a visual processing disorder, but a lot of people do. So I bet a lot of people did read that and think it said the N-word. Could be. All right. Well, Meg wants to let you know that one time she was flipping through some manuals for their security team just to make sure that they were minding their P's and Q's according to what the textbook said. And there was this one page in the manual that said, if you see a tweet like this, you should immediately call head of security. And the tweet said something like, Meghan is the worst. Somebody should kill Meghan. Maybe I should do it. And Meghan's like, can you believe that stuff is out there in the world? That somebody would say that? Am I safe? Are my babies safe? And I think the thing that I find problematic about that is simply that, was that an example tweet of like, if you see something like this, you should call head of security, and then they gave an example? Or was it a legitimate tweet that somebody had pulled? And if that tweet has already been pulled, then has head of security been notified? Wouldn't Meghan already know about this tweet? Like, she acted like she had stumbled upon this information. She'd never even seen a tweet like this. Nobody even let her know that there was somebody out there making death threats like this. And then just, here she is just minding her own business, reading the security manual, and then she finds this tweet. I think that's an example of what you should find, not necessarily that somebody said it. Because if somebody had said it, you would already know about it. They would have taken protocol, wouldn't they? If they were really worried that your life was at stake. Anyway, she lets that be the catalyst for her crying scene so that she can win an Oscar at her life. She is the most unconvincing person I've ever seen, and she works really hard to get some tears going. You can see them in her eyes. I'm not saying there weren't tears in the rims of her eyes. She does her damnness to get that tear to fall. She's dabbing at her eyes a lot, and when the tear finally does fall, she keeps wiping her face, but conveniently continues to miss the one tear that she was able to get to fall out of her eye. I'm like, how many times are you going to wipe the same spot and miss the tear? But she's got to make sure you see it because she worked hard for that tear. Then we cut to a scene of Meghan and Archie playing because we're supposed to get this idea that she's just a mom, and that's why it's so tragic that people are being this mean, because she's just trying to read her kid a story about the Gruffalo while he beats on a pot drum. And while he's beating on that pot, she's over here being like, I love it. That's so good. Please. Thank you. Play it again, please. Thank you. Play it again. She's weird with him. It's not like a normal mom. It's like somebody who is a babysitter, and she talks to Archie like he's not really her own. Because how many of us are going to sit there and listen to somebody bang on a pot for infinity? Most of us are going to be like, okay, let's find something else to do. And we redirect. I'm not listening to you bang on a pot. But I bring up the scene not so I can criticize about the banging pot and how unrealistic I found that scene, but because Archie is wearing a shirt that says, love my mama. Now, is this a description of his feelings for her, or is this a commandment to you to change your ways? Regardless, it is the weirdest bit of propaganda, arguably in the entire thing, that they would put their child in a shirt that said, love my mama. Are we supposed to love her because he does? Or is he trying to preach to us? Is his innocence supposed to compel us to change our minds, our hearts, our souls towards Meghan? I don't know, but it was weird. Okay. Continuing on, we get more of her friends being weird. There's this one friend that came up a couple of episodes again that I didn't even mention about because I was like, who even is this rando? She apparently was invited to the wedding. And I'm like, but I thought Meghan had no friends at the wedding. So I need to maybe do some digging as to who this person was. Because I remember this friend being weird to me because the friend said that she was at the wedding and she wanted to cry because it was all so meaningful. And then she was like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And that right after that, they cut to the gospel choir singing a song that said, don't cry. And I remember thinking when I watched that episode, why is the gospel choir singing a song about don't cry at a wedding? This person's back, and she is saying that the media is really mean. It's not a case of sticks and stones won't break your bones. It's real. The threat is real. It can kill you. And she says it exactly like that. The threat is real. It can kill you. All right. Well, since the threat is real and it can kill you, they have to go to therapy. So then we get a scene of them at therapy. Meghan, both of them are supposed to sit there with their eyes closed and their hands out to receive the words of therapy. And the therapist is telling them not to buy into the lies about them. They know who they are. They don't need to listen to this stuff. Don't take the bait. All of this. All the stuff that a good friend would tell you. If you had any friends in your life, they would tell you. You don't actually have to pay for therapists to tell you the exact same thing a good friend would tell you. But there they are. Meghan's got tear marks coursing down her cheeks. We never see the tears fall, but they're there. She's got these tracks down her face of the tears. Harry has his head thrown back in dismay. And finally, they are allowed to open their eyes after they've received the healing from the therapist. And we're just supposed to get this feeling that this is just super, super hard for them. It's devastating is what it is.